Do you think gold is money?
No.
It's not money. Even if it had been money for 6,000 years, somebody reversed that and eliminated that economic law.
Well, it's an asset. I mean, it's the same. Would you say Treasury bills are money? I don't think they're money either, but they're a financial asset.
Why do central banks hold it?
Well, it's a form of reserves.
Why don't they hold diamonds?
Well, it's tradition, long-term tradition.
Well, some people still think it's money. I yield back. My time is up.
Thank you.
Hey, soldiers, you heard him. That was Ben Bernanke, the former Federal Reserve Chair. He was asked by former Congressman Ron Paul, why central banks buy gold if it's not money? And you heard Chairman Bernanke respond by saying, oh, it's just tradition. Maybe you went to the ballpark one day and you wore your favorite jersey backwards and inside out and the team won. Okay, and so you started a tradition. You do that every time you go to the ballpark now, right? Or, some folk like to go out on Christmas Eve and get their Christmas tree. It's a tradition. So Ben Bernanke wants us to believe that the Federal Reserve Bank and the central banks of the world are out there making major financial decisions, spending billions of dollars based on tradition. Okay. Whatever, Ben. All right. But I think that we've done enough coverage of that to have everyone understand that gold is indeed an asset. Silver is also an asset. Now, the central banks don't do a lot of purchasing in silver, and I'm going to tell you why that is in a moment. But we had one of the soldiers, and this is why we're getting into this today. We had one of the soldiers stationed way out on the front, in his bivouac, cracked open an MRE and started pondering. Silver bars. How can you invest in that? Should you? He asked me to tell you more about it. So I'm going to do that. Now, before I do that, I want to recruit. All right. Hit the subscribe button. That is tantamount to enlisting and becoming a soldier of finance. Let me know that you hit that subscribe button, that you enlisted. Let me know you did that in the comments. I will salute you. Also, I need everybody to go ahead now and hit the thumbs up. You would be amazed the impact that has on the algorithm. It basically is a vote of confidence, and it tells YouTube, listen, this is something other people need to see, make it available. So go ahead and hit that. I appreciate all of the soldiers of finance, and I salute you. Okay, so the soldier asked me to talk about gold and silver. Well, specifically silver bars. All right, so let's get into a conversation of what the asset, precious metals, what that asset is designed to do. Now, word of caution. This is not a channel that talks about trading, high frequency trading, okay? What the Soldiers of Finance channel is into is long-term investing. And I'm talking long-term investing. Optimally, I don't want to sell any assets. I want those assets to kick off income. I want them to appreciate, and I want to draw that income from those assets. I want to use the appreciation maybe as a form of collateral to purchase other assets, okay, like real estate. I don't want to sell those assets for another reason. Oftentimes, when you sell an asset, you are taxed. So I want to legally minimize my tax debt to the furthest extent possible, especially as we realize a accelerating national debt. So we're going to have to see higher taxes at some point. Also, remember, not many people are talking about this, but we do have the expiration or the sunsetting of the Trump tax cuts coming up here in 2025. Now, unless Congress acts to extend those and the president then signs it, which I don't believe Joe Biden would be willing to do that, then we've got an automatic tax increase just built in. So I always want to do what I can to minimize my tax debt legally. I'm using the tax code as my friend. A lot of people have one view of the IRS, and that is adversarial. But if you look in that tax code and see what is allowed in terms of helping you to actually reduce your tax debt, really, there's a lot in there that you could really take advantage of and legally reduce that debt. Now, the IRS audits poor people and the middle class most often. Why? Because we don't have access to the attorneys and the accountants, the armies of attorneys and accountants that can interpret the tax code for us. All right. And that is another reason why we tend to view the IRS as primarily adversarial, because we tend not to understand the benefits that are in the tax code. So those are two reasons why I don't typically sell assets. So when it comes to, let's speak specifically about silver going forward, because that's what the soldier asked about. So when it comes to silver, I want to hold on to it. And I would caution anyone who has a liquidation horizon of less than 8 years, okay? If you are going to need or see yourself in a position where you cannot hold on to that silver for at least 8 years, then you need to question whether or not you're going to purchase it. And the reason why is because, again, depending on how much you have, you're going to have to pay taxes, depending on how much you have and how it's performed. Okay, in the short term, silver is very volatile. All right, it swings up and down and up and down. And if you come out of that with a gain, then there are going to be capital gains taxes that, probably apply depending on how you hold that silver. All right. So there's a taxation aspect. And then when you go out here and buy precious metals in the form of coins or bars or rounds, and let me just pause right there. A coin is typically thought of as something that is minted by a sovereign mint, a government mint. All right. A round can look like a coin, but its nomenclature is a little different simply because the sovereign coins enjoy the designation of coin. All right. So you can go out here and, purchase silver in whatever form you like, but understand that if you have a short time horizon, then you're going to pay that tax more than likely on any appreciation. And remember, when you buy silver, you pay a premium for it. So if you take a look at the spot price, and let's just say, make things easy. Spot price says silver, $20. Okay. So you run down to the coin store with $40 and you think you're coming out of there with 2 ounces of silver. It's not going to work like that, because that silver dealer has to make money. They're in business rather, for a reason. They got to make some money, right? So there's a premium added on top of that because they paid a premium to get it. All right. So they've got to make some money. Otherwise, they can't be available for you to purchase that asset, right? And the U.S. Mint does not sell circulated silver coins. Okay. They sell proof coins. Now, proof coins are more of a collector's item. They can serve as an asset, but you'll find, and you can go on usmint.gov, and you will find that those premiums on those types of coins are much higher. Okay, so you got to be careful with that. You got to figure out what you want to do. You want to be a collector, or do you want to, and that's called numismatics, or do you want to be someone that's just accumulating the asset? Now, when we talk about bars, all right, I don't like bars, and that's just me. Bars come in various sizes. Okay, you can go to 1 ounce. I've seen silver bars at 100 ounces, 100-ounce silver bar, and everything in between. Okay, and they are typically minted by third-party companies, right? And when I say third-party, what I should say is non-governmental organizations or private companies, Johnson Matthey's, things like that. Okay, and that's fine. All right, that's absolutely fine. But you have to figure out what is your reason for investing in this silver. Okay, if it is to, let me slow down here a sec because we got a lot to cover. If your intent is to invest or purchase that asset in order to act as a hedge against inflation, or to ride the wave of silver used in all types of industrial applications and electronic applications. So you think as we get more of these applications going throughout the world, then that silver price will rise because it's a finite commodity. That may be why you're doing it, okay? If you ever intend to sell, you have to figure out who you're going to sell it to. If you're going to sell it back to a coin dealer or one of these silver and gold dealers, then will they be in business? I mean, the couple might be 67 years old. I used to go to a coin store that they were elderly, okay, and they retired, so I started going to a new one. So any personal relationship you make, you got to understand, if you've got an 8-year time horizon, things could change. Do you intend to sell this? Now, the other thing is silver can be looked at as an asset that you hold forever or that you sell at some point. Again, I think 8 years should be the minimum horizon because of the premiums, because of taxation. So you need that silver to appreciate beyond the premium in order for this to be a profitable experience for you, right? And that may not happen in the short term. So if you're talking about silver as an investment, the acquisition of an asset, but it's a different type of asset, we'll get into that in a minute, then that's one thing, okay? A lot of people believe that the United States of America, the West in general, is headed toward a Mad Max type of societal implosion. Now, I don't really see that, okay? I could be wrong, but some people think that's going to happen, and that's why they're collecting gold and silver to barter with, okay? Now, even in good times, there are situations where you can barter silver, all right? There's some farmers markets around here that will do it. There's a lot in New Hampshire that do that, okay? Allow you to trade silver for goods. It's not ubiquitous, of course, but you got to understand that if you've got a big old silver bar, that's going to be less attractive to someone who you may be bartering with. And it's going to be less attractive for you to actually trade that for a good or a service or groups of goods and services, simply because it's so much silver. So that's like taking $1,000 bill. I don't even think they have that, but just hang with me on the example. That's like taking $1,000 bill to the grocery store, okay, and spending $200. And then you got $800 left over. You're like, what do I do? Can you give me change? No, we can't. We can't break it up. So when you get these large bars of silver, then you kind of negate the ability to use that as barter, okay, if you ever want or need to, all right? The other thing about silver bars is you'll find that a lot of dealers and a lot of people in general are less likely to trade for them, because when you see a silver eagle coin from the United States, or a silver Britannia from the UK, or a silver maple leaf from Canada, these coins are government minted. Okay, so that carries some cachet. You know that there's some quality control there. You know that there are anti-counterfeiting processes that will land you in prison if you flout. Okay, so you also know that these are highly recognized. You can go anywhere in the world and ask someone, have you ever heard of Canada? And 9.5 times out of 10, they're going to say, oh yeah, I know Canada, or I know the United States, I know the UK, all right? So they've got that reputational value going for them in addition to the intrinsic value of the silver. Now, let me go back a little bit. We talked about the proof coins as opposed to just circulated silver coins, all right? Circulated just means that they could be out there. Anybody could, have handled them. Fine, whatever. We're not making these for numismatic purposes. All right, we talked about the premium being higher on those proof coins, okay? And then you wouldn't want to trade, you would be less likely to want to trade something for a collector's item, because you'll find that these numismatic coins, depending on what they are, a lot of them will just get the value of the silver. So let's say we are in a Mad Max situation and you need some MREs and a bottle of water, and you got a silver coin and it's a numismatic coin. It's, some proof coin with a mirror finish, and, You paid well above the spot price and well above the premium for circulated for that. And now the person that you're looking to barter with, they're saying, look, I don't care about all that. The silver is this price, and I'm not giving you anything above that for the numismatic value of the coin. Okay, so the other thing with silver bars, all right, now when you get into coins, and this is where a lot of the crypto folk have a point. They say, look, if you're in a situation where you need to flee your country, how much gold or silver can you take? Now, that is an extreme example, okay? I wouldn't know where I would even go if I had to flee the United States of America, okay? But they do, the point they're trying to make is the portability of crypto. And simply, you can't tote around a bunch of silver bars. You can't tote around an inordinate amount of silver coins with you without worrying about things like loss, theft, that sort of thing. Of course, the Achilles heel too. If you got to flee the United States, if we got to flee the United States, I can't imagine that there will be ubiquitous electricity like there is now, or cell phone signals. So that would be the Achilles heel of crypto. So everything has its pros and its cons, right? But for my money, I have never purchased a silver bar. I never intend to, for the reasons that I've stated. They're attractive, sure, okay. But at the end of the day, I'm not hunting werewolves, so I don't need to melt it down into ammunition. The coins, I believe, now you can disagree and that's fine. I believe the coins are the best bet, all right, for all of the reasons that I've stated. So I hope I've been comprehensive in this. I think I've covered all the bases here. You don't want to have something that you don't want to have an asset that you cannot, you can't liquidate or have a lot of trouble liquidating if you need to. One last thing. This is the thing I did forget. Look, precious metals act differently in terms of their function as an asset. They are not meant to appreciate in the way that a share of stock might or a piece of real estate might. And they also do not kick off an income. All right. Understand that. They're not made for that. Gold is a hell of a hedge for inflation over the long term. This is, again, an asset class that you should not endeavor in if you do not have a lengthy time horizon. Also, it is definitely an asset class that you do not want all of your eggs in this one basket. All right. You need to figure out what, if any, percentage of your portfolio should be in precious metal, gold, and or silver, all right? Because they're not going to give you an income. They're going to, especially gold is going to act like this. It's going to say, okay, I'm going to be a hedge against inflation long term. So if inflation is spiking, I'm going to be going up because people are going to want to preserve their value, preserve their purchasing power. That's what gold does. Now, again, silver is more volatile simply because it has so many industrial uses. All right. So there is some manipulation in both of those markets. Okay. There's speculation that there's a lot more paper gold and silver than there is actual gold and silver. So that affords the powers that be some price suppression. Okay. Whatever. But just rule of thumb, it's not a short-term investment. Nothing we do around here is looked at to be short-term. Optimally, if you can hold on to an investment in perpetuity and then bequeath it to your heirs, okay, that's the best case. That's the best case scenario. And meanwhile, your lifestyle is perpetuated by the income that flows off of all of these income sources that you put together. And some of that income, of course, flows into improving, enhancing, and buying more assets. All right, guys. So look, before we get out of here, I do want you to check out this video. You got to see this one because it's on the subject that we just finished talking about, that being precious metals. Now, the states here in the United States are losing faith in fiat currency, in the dollar, the fiat currency of the country that these states are confederated in. Alaska, they're the latest state of quite a few who are saying, you know what, let's put the dollar over here, kind of sideline it, and let's look at this gold as an asset to make an option for our currency. Okay, take a look, guys. I'll talk to you soon.